Scene opens with Akwasi in a vibrant African marketplace. He's surrounded by the sounds of a busy day, vendors calling out their wares, the chatter of people bargaining, and the beat of local music from a nearby shop. He calls out to the people gathered, his face lit up with excitement. Akwasi begins. "Oh, my friends. Let me take you back to a wedding like no other. A grand celebration where the joy of two families became the joy of a whole community. But what started as a day of music and dancing nearly turned into one of shame and worry. Until Jesus stepped in. Come close, come close. Imagine this with me, a bustling Nigerian town, everyone dressed to impress, laughter ringing out, drums pounding, feet moving in perfect rhythm. And in the midst of it all, Jesus was there too, celebrating, sharing in the joy, and bringing with him something even greater than anyone expected. Picture this, families from all around have gathered. The men wear agbadas of blue and gold, looking like royalty, and the women wear gaily tied so high it's like crowns on their heads. The children run around laughing, and the elders sit close by, nodding to the rhythm of the drums and clapping their hands. There's the smell of jollof rice in the air, the sweetness of puff-puff, and the spice of suya on sticks. Everyone is there, from the young to the old, and the town is alive with joy. And there, in the middle of it all, is Jesus, his mother Mary by his side, his disciples around him. They're eating, they're laughing, and they're enjoying the day just like everyone else. For a moment, it's like heaven has come down to earth. The mood shifts as Akwasi's voice drops, his tone serious and his eyes narrowing as he draws the listeners in. But then, disaster struck. You see, in Nigeria, a wedding without wine is like soup without pepper. The celebration was at its peak when suddenly, the wine ran out. The groom's family looked around in horror. What would they do? People had come from far and wide, and now, if they couldn't serve wine, their honor, their respect, their reputation would all be lost in an instant. People started whispering, "Oh, what happened to the wine? Wine don't finish. Are we supposed to drink only water?" The joyful dancing began to slow, the smiles began to fade, and the bride's mother, oh, she was close to tears. This was a disaster, a stain on the family that no one would forget. It seemed like the day would be ruined. Akwasi pauses, letting the weight of the moment sink in, as some listeners shake their heads, empathizing with the family. His tone softens, filled with admiration as he describes Mary's faith. But one person noticed, Mary, the mother of Jesus. She looked around, saw the anxious faces, and knew this family needed help. With all the faith of a mother, she went to Jesus and quietly said, "They have no more wine." Jesus looked at her, a gentle smile in his eyes, and replied, "My time has not yet come." But Mary, she didn't need more explanation. She turned to the servants and said with simple trust, "Do whatever he tells you." She didn't know how Jesus would do it, but she knew he would. And that, my friends, is the kind of faith that brings miracles. Akwasi's voice rises with excitement as he describes what happened next, his hands moving animatedly as he tells the story. So, Jesus looked around and saw 6 large jars, each one tall and steady, big enough to hold gallons of water. These weren't just any jars, they were the ones used for washing hands and feet, old, simple, and definitely not for drinking. But Jesus told the servants, "Fill these jars with water." You can imagine the confusion on their faces. Water? At a wedding? They may have exchanged a few looks, but they didn't question him. They filled each jar to the brim, water slushing over the edges as they walked. Then Jesus told them, "Now, draw some out and take it to the master of ceremonies." Now these servants, they were probably wondering if they were about to serve water to the guests. But they obeyed, trusting that something greater was about to happen. Akwasi grins, eyes wide with excitement as he describes the scene. And then, it happened. The master of ceremonies tasted the water, except it wasn't water anymore. It was wine. Not just any wine, but the finest wine, rich and full of flavor. He called the groom over, shaking his head in amazement, and announced to everyone, "My friend. Most people serve the best wine first, and then the cheaper wine once people have had their fill. But you have saved the best for last." The groom looked surprised, the bride's mother covered her mouth in shock, and then the whole crowd erupted in cheers. "More wine," they cried, and the dancing began again, this time with even greater joy. Laughter filled the air, the drums beat louder, and everyone marveled at the mysterious, unexpected gift. Only a few people knew what had really happened. Only a few understood that Jesus had taken simple water and turned it into something precious. For everyone else, it was simply a miracle of love and grace. The crowd around Akwasi is quiet, captivated by the story. He leans forward, his voice gentle but strong, delivering the powerful message. "Now, my friends, this is not just a story about wine and weddings. Jesus' miracle that day shows us something much deeper, his love and his power. Even when we feel empty, when we feel we have nothing left to give, Jesus can fill us with his love. Just like he turned that water into wine, he can take our lives, our brokenness, and turn them into something beautiful, something more than we ever thought possible. Remember, no matter how far we feel from God, he is always ready to fill our hearts with his grace, his love, and his forgiveness. We just have to trust and come to him, like Mary did, and believe that he can make all things new. The people around Akwasi sit in thoughtful silence, some smiling, others deeply moved by the story's powerful message. Slowly, they begin to nod, touched by the reminder that no matter where they are in life, Christ's love can transform them.